A very good afternoon to all of you who have joined today. Allow us a few minutes as we are currently admitting our other participants who are on the lobby at the moment. So give us a few more minutes and we will be starting soon. Thank you so much for joining with us.
Are you looking for the ultimate events destination? A place with great venues and state-of-the-art facilities? A growing business hub with the best spots for adventure, leisure and culture? The answer lies in an enchanting island along the trade routes between East and West. The events destination with the full package. Hosted in a place like no other. A place renowned for its smiling hospitality. With a splendid selection of 5-star hotels. Boutique hotels, villas. and of course, enchanting beach resorts. An island nation with easy access to everything, international and domestic air services, transport facilities, including modern highways and superior communication. The land of 1,000 unique experiences. Glitzy supermalls for shopping. Great destinations for adventure. Places rich in history and culture. Cuisine with the flavors of paradise. A truly unique destination for any event, with endless possibilities for business and leisure.
A very good afternoon and welcome to the second Sri Lanka Convention Bureau Chairman's Forum on meetings, incentives, conferences, and exhibitions and events. Few housekeeping rules before we proceed. Please be kind enough to keep your mics on mute and your video switched off. All the panelists will also be keeping their mics and their videos switched off until we start the panel discussion. Without further ado, let's begin. The focus of today's event will be to educate representatives of business chambers, associations, and non-governmental organizations on creating awareness, promoting Sri Lanka as a MICE destination, building relationships to bid for regional and international MICE events, obtain support to reach regional and international networks of business chambers, associations, and non-governmental organizations to attract events in Sri Lanka. Today's event is hosted by Sri Lanka Convention Bureau. It was set up in 1987 as a company by guarantee to promote Sri Lanka as a venue for MICE tourism. SLCB was made into a statutory body under the Tourism Act number 38 of 2005. SLCB operates under Ministry of Tourism with an annual budget with 4% income from the Tourism Development Levy and embarkation tax. SLCB works as a facilitator and assists the MICE industry, representing associations and institutions to bring MICE traffic to Sri Lanka. To manage today's event, SLCB has partnered with Sri Lanka Association of Professional Conference, Exhibition, and Event Organizers, which is the only professional association that works with SLCB in representing MICE in Sri Lanka. Their membership consists of professional conference, exhibition, incentive, and event organizers, as well as suppliers to the industry, including venues such as SLECC, BMICH, hotels, and many more. Along with the participation, we are also joined by an esteemed panel of speakers today who are joining to take you through this event by sharing their insights on creating awareness, building relationships, and promoting Sri Lanka as a MICE destination. Allow me to introduce the esteemed panelists who are joining with us today. Mrs. Kimali Fernando, Chairperson of Sri Lanka Tourism Development Authority, Mr. Manjula De Silva, Secretary General and CEO of Ceylon Chamber of Commerce, Dr. Suresh Shanmuganathan, Professional Consultant and Maxillofacial Surgeon in Sri Lanka, Mr. Dimuthu Tennakon, Head of Worldwide Sales and Distribution at Sri Lanka Airlines, Mr. Imran Hassan, current President of SLCB, and Mr. Krishanta Fernando, General Manager of Sri Lanka Convention Bureau. First and foremost, as we begin our event today, I would like to invite Ms. Kimali Fernando to share her thoughts on Rediscover Sri Lanka with MICE on a business aspect. Mrs. Kimali Fernando is a veteran banker, an attorney at law, an acclaimed corporate professional with an astounding career, serving in many high-profile designations over the course of her professional career. She currently serves as the chairperson of Sri Lanka Tourism Development Authority. Mrs. Kimali Fernando, the screen is yours.
Aiboan. MICE tourism is a critical segment for Sri Lanka tourism. We have done quite a lot of work on MICE in the past years, but I think that there's a lot more we can do and we are prepared to do. So MICE business is a huge industry globally. And I think that we have, in a way, I think, something different to offer than perhaps Dubai and Malaysia, Singapore, so on. What we have to offer is sort of a complete package, if you like, where you have the MICE business, where you combine it with leisure. Think of a country. I mean, there is no other country in the world that is so diverse, which is so authentic, if you like, as well as it is compact. So from a MICE tourism perspective, if you start from the beginning of the journey, booking a destination for MICE, that's where we appeal to all of you to help us to make the contacts globally, as well as particularly in the region, the South Asia region. If you can have contacts with associations, event managers, wedding planners, etc., build joint ventures, partnerships, whatever, some kind of arrangement if you can make to start preparing for next year. Because MICE is something unlike tourism, which people plan sort of well in advance, which we are aware of. So I think now, really now is the time to plan, to contact them, to pitch for this business. And Sri Lanka Convention Bureau is absolutely delighted to help all of you, whether it's to get approvals for a location or whether it is with regards to guidelines or whatever. We are more than happy to help you. And what we will do is, I mean, you know how we open tourism in a biobubble concept. So we can look at going forward to have a sort of a biobubble sort of convention for MICE area as well. With regards to marketing and promotion, we have already started sort of digital promotion. We will also have a focused approach to marketing for MICE because it doesn't need to be sort of that general. I think we should have a very focused approach to marketing for MICE. We appeal to you, all of you, to build those relationships. Then when they do arrive to Sri Lanka, about the visa, I mean, at the moment, business visa price is different to tourist visa. So this results in MICE tourists also applying for a tourist visa. So we have actually done a cabinet paper. We are going ahead to request a few things. One is to have a separate visa for MICE, if possible, so that we can actually collect data for the industry, which is critical for you to have. Number two is to possibly have the same sort of visa fees so that there is no distinction. And number three is the possibility of having a separate counter at the immigration so that the MICE tourists could have a different kind of experience because there are so many people who will be visiting at the same time. Whether it is MICE, whether it is, I look at it sort of in a broader sense, whether it is conventions or whether it is weddings and all that. So that is something that we are working on and I expect we would have some success with that. With regards to, do we have capacity? Do we have enough capacity? At the moment, we have big halls and so on, but I think some capacity requirement is needed going forward, considering the potential of the market. So I think Port City could be an opportunity. Of course, it will take a few years. So these are areas that we could work together with you, whether it's a public-private partnership, whether we can look at going forward, whether we look at Hambantota, which has about 1,400 capacity. So these are areas that we can sort of work with you and try to sort of build this business. I have to tell you that Sri Lanka tourism really sees MICE as a very, very critical segment. And even when there were restrictions made during the COVID pandemic, we stood for you and we approached health as well, even to permit to have events and so on. So we have been your voice and we will continue to be your voice because we feel that the MICE area encompasses a lot of people. It encompasses people who are a little bit older, particularly also the youth. women who participate in this area. And this is something personally for me also. I mean, it's something close to me as well. And so I think that gives opportunity for women in particular to work in this industry, because it could be part-time, it could be flexi-time. It has a lot of creativity involved. So I think that this is a segment that is a huge focus for us. And I think that together with all of you, and possibly if we could talk to some international funding agencies as well to support us in this, I think together with you, we would build this business, particularly in the South Asia market, but not restricted to that. And I personally give you my 100% commitment to build this area, and looking forward to working with you and having a good action plan and plan for MICE going forward. Please work together with the Sri Lanka Conventions Bureau. We have a very able team. They are really energetic. They are going to have the digital promotion campaign. We are going to have a virtual trade show for all of you, and you all can participate in that. I think the future is virtual, whether we like it or not. And I think it's cost effective. It has the reach that we can normally not get, as well as particularly you can help the SMEs and middle market people who are unable to sort of visit countries, and you won't have access to that level. So what we will do is we will have a virtual trade show that all the hotels, the convention halls, anyone who's involved in MICE and events could get involved. And MICE is something that has entertainers, it has performers, it has photographers, it has camera people, it has flowers. It is an industry, it encompasses everything of Sri Lanka, really. And MICE can be, for me, I see it as, the voice of Sri Lanka, because you'll be showing cultural shows, you'll be showing performances, you'll be taking them all over the country. Right? So please work with Convention Bureau. They have loads of plans in store, not just plans, but plans that they will actually implement. And personally, I'm involved, and you have an amazing team there. So I invite you all to talk to them and work with them and embrace technology. I think that's probably going to be the way forward. So thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Kimali Fernando, for your valuable insights and joining with us this evening. With that, now I would like to invite Mr. Manjula De Silva to address the audience on how chambers should support to attract business events to Sri Lanka. Mr. Manjula De Silva is the Secretary General and CEO of the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce. He has held many senior positions in the private sector as well as in the public sector, including as a member of the Securities and Exchange Commission of Sri Lanka, as the chairperson of National Insurance Trust Fund, as the managing director and CEO of HNB Assurance PLC, and the Director General of Public Enterprises Reform Commission are among others. Mr. De Silva served as the chairman of Chartered Institute of Management Accountants Sri Lanka in 2016 and was subsequently appointed to its regional board for Middle East, South Asia, and North Africa region. Mr. De Silva, thank you so much for joining with us this afternoon in this forum. The screen is yours now.
Thank you. I must first of all thank Kimali and SLCB for inviting me to speak at this forum. So I must start by saying that the Ceylon Chamber will be very happy to support this effort. Together with our 37 industry associations that are part of the Chamber network, we can definitely help. I think it's very pertinent to look at this area at this moment in time, because although we are currently under a pandemic, these events require a lot of time. You have to bid for them, and then to organize and host an event, it takes quite a bit of a time frame. So we have to start looking at opportunities now itself, aiming at maybe 22, 23, 24, because certain events, basically you have to pitch sometimes several years in advance. So it is a very opportune time to be addressing this topic. So talking about the chamber and the associations that are part of the chamber network. Now, many of these are members of various regional and international bodies. And so most of these tend to have regular conferences, exhibitions, and various other events. So one can definitely start looking at opportunities to host such events in Sri Lanka. And if I may give you a couple of examples from the past. Now, I learned that in 2010, the Ceylon Chamber had organized the 24th conference of a regional grouping of chambers, which is called the CACI, which stands for Confederation of Asia Pacific Chambers of Commerce and Industry. And this event had brought in to Sri Lanka about 120 foreign participants from about 27 countries. So it has been a very good event, a very successful event in 2010. And Sri Lanka has, once again, the chamber has submitted a bid and got the opportunity to host the conference in 2020 again. But unfortunately, due to the Easter attacks of 2019, it had been moved to another location because of the situation at that time. But certainly, we can once again bid for this conference because it's an annual event. Last year, they had it virtually. This year also very likely it's virtual. Next year, probably it's already booked, but maybe 2023, we can take a look at it again. Then also, I think there have been other events. For example, there are certain homegrown events which have attracted foreign participation. So once again, if I recall something from the recent past, the Chamber had organized the Colombo International Tea Convention in 2017, and which had attracted 600 foreign delegates. So this was organized actually by the Chamber for CTTA, the Colombo Tea Traders Association. And this also, unfortunately, had been scheduled to be held this very month in August 2021, but it had to be postponed indefinitely. But once again, we can look at some of these things, possibly having something towards end of 2022. We can look at the possibility. We can talk to CTTA about it. So there are many such events, and in fact, also one more I would like to mention: the Sri Lanka Retail Association had already won the bid to host what is called the Asia Pacific Retail Convention and Exhibition, APRCE, in 2024. So this is again a very big event. It has most of the elements that Himali spoke of. It's got a conference, an exhibition, award presentations, a gala dinner, and the whole, tours. It's everything packed into one program. And this, so we have already we've won over Singapore. So which really shows the ability of Sri Lanka to successfully pitch for events of this nature and win them. So this is planned for 2024, and we can definitely work with your support to make that a success. So apart from now these kind of events, there are also other events these overseas organizations may be hosting. Now, some of which probably don't involve Sri Lanka. We may not be a part of some of those forums, but we can also still pitch for them. We can write to these associations, chambers, etc., and offer the services of Sri Lanka together with SLCB to host some of these events here. So that is another opportunity, of course, for which we need some very good promotional material. I mean, like the video that we just saw, and maybe some more brochures, and a lot of work has to go in order to win some of these events. But definitely, we'll be very happy to work with SLCB to bring a few events to Sri Lanka. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. De Silva, for sharing your insights on how chambers could support in attracting business events in Sri Lanka. Very valuable, and thank you so much for joining with us as well. Next, I would like to now invite Dr. Suresh Shanmuganathan to address the audience on experience sharing on bidding and winning a World Congress to Sri Lanka. Dr. Shanmuganathan, by profession, he is a consultant oral and maxillofacial surgeon in government and private sector. He is the past president of Sri Lanka Association of Oral and Maxillofacial Surgeon, Sri Lanka Dental Association, College of Dentistry and Stomatology of Sri Lanka, Sri Lanka Academy of Aesthetic and Cosmetic Dentistry, and Sri Lanka Association of Advancement of Science, Section A. He also boasts many experiences in organizing many international and national congresses through his role as an organizing chairperson as well as an organizing secretary. Dr. Shanmuganathan, thank you very much for joining with us this afternoon. The screen is yours to share your valuable experiences with the audience.
Thank you, Ravindra. First of all, let me thank Mrs. Kimali Fernando and the SLCB and SLAP CEO, especially Mr. Zian Ami, for the opportunity given. So, on sharing the experience in bidding and winning conferences to Sri Lanka. If you look at all international congresses, basically whether it could be scientific sessions or whether it is a trade or sporting event, the bidding is almost similar in every aspect in any of those events. But one has to remember, to hold an international congress, we need to. It can't be held overnight. It has to be planned over a time. It takes years sometimes, and we need to establish a platform so that we should be able to, on that platform, build up to bring in international events to Sri Lanka. So most important thing is whether a person or ideally a body, which could be an association, a college, or a society, needs to develop rapport with the respective international organizations over years, right? So this will involve that we actively participate in India international congresses which are held in the other countries, either in person or in number, and make an impact in the business meetings of those respective associations. And also we should be able to make sure that they know the amount of work, type of work, and the amount of work we do in respective fields in Sri Lanka. So and also it's important that whether we can influence through our governmental agencies or the government in decision making of this World Forum. So the ideal example would be that we were, as Sri Lanka Dental Association, as a dental professionals in this country, we were able to convince the health minister of this country to basically put a proposal in the World Health Assembly to incorporate oral health as part of general health, and which was the idea which was basically passed in this year, May 2021. So these types of events gives us a major impact to Sri Lanka, because Sri Lanka is puts on the world map, so that even we may be a smaller country with less number of doctors, but we can make those types of the impact in the world arena, which the bigger countries are unable to do. So it is important that they should be able to, being small does not matter, but we should be able to make use of every opportunity to get this done. An important thing in organizing conferences is the credibility, whether as a person or the association should have good credibility, right? So that is the one which has to be built. It does not come overnight, it has to be built over time. So once the international associations know the credibility of the national association, then whatever we can put forward, they will accept it, because they know that we will be able to deal with the goods, and we will also make sure that we will be able to commit to whatever things at the moment the contracts will encounter. So most the congresses are held on franchise model, where the local organizing committee has to pay the international organization a predetermined sum of money, which we call a royalty, at the end of the conferences. So although Sri Lanka Dental Association was formed in 1932, it almost took us 59 years to put up our first regional meeting in 1991. So the SADAF, which is the regional conference, that was a stepping stone for the international arena for us. So I have to thank all the presidents, the past presidents, the office bearers, and the members of Sri Lanka Dental Association for setting the platform for us to build up on. So subsequent to which, we were able to have the 1997, we had 37 Asia Pacific Dental Congress. Then we had the, in 2006, we had the 5th triennial meeting of the Commonwealth Dental Association. Then again, we had the second time, the Asia Pacific Dental Congress, 37th Asia Pacific Dental Congress in 2010. Then also we had the, for the first time, we had the World Association coming, the World Dental Federation, or the FDI, the Commonwealth Dental Association, Sri Lanka Dental Association, and a joint conference in 2013. Then we had the 3rd Asian Maxillofacial Training Conference, which is we affiliated the Asian Association of Oral Maxillofacial Surgeons in 2017. And recently, about 3 months ago in May, we had the 42nd Asia Pacific Dental Congress, which was the first ever virtual congress to be held by the APDF in the background of this COVID-19 pandemic. And next important thing is the logistics. Because to have a specific congress, we need requirements, basically the meeting rooms, exhibition spaces, accommodations, whether the avenues for social events. So it has to plan all those things, whether we have appropriate event halls, whether we can accommodate the appropriate numbers is important. And also accessibility, because Sri Lanka basically located in an ideal position, because I think we are well connected on travel-wise. It's important because, and also the location, because Sri Lanka itself, people know it's one of the best countries come for relaxation, tourism, one of the ideal countries. So people love to come to this country. So it's important that to make sure that we are able to project those images, accessibility, and also that we are able to project that it's one of the best countries for tourism as well. Then of course we have to look at the what are the dates, because most of the conferences, most of the international conferences have happened in particular month of the year. So we should look at it and see whether that particular month suits the climate of Sri Lanka, or whether we need some alterations on that. And also we should look at number of delegates, and most of the delegates are coming from which part of the country. So accordingly, we need to plan the targets. And then of course we have to look at the accommodations, number of rooms available, whether it's a 4-star, 5-star or budget, what are the rooms available, and whether we are able to accommodate them, whether those hotels are able, whether they have adequate number of rooms on those proposed states. And of course, important is the Congress budget. Ultimately, whatever is said and done boils down to the budget, because ultimately we owe the international body X amount of sum at the end of the conference. So important is to look at the SWOT analysis, the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, and see how we can work on it. So our major, I should thank the SLCB and Sri Lankan Airlines who have been supporting us throughout on all the congresses in developing and also giving us offers to promote these events among the international delegates. So I should thank SLCB and Sri Lankan Airlines. Also, we have very good convention organizers in Sri Lanka can support us well. So those are our plus points, which we should be able to make use of them to make sure that we are able to bring further conferences to Sri Lanka. Also, in other words, it also put us on the map, because Sri Lanka becomes, people know where Sri Lanka is and what Sri Lankans can do. And also it gives economic boost to the country as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Doctor, for sharing your experience on bidding and winning a World Congress to Sri Lanka. Very valuable, and thank you so much for joining us as well. I would like to now invite Mr. Dimuthu Tennapon to address the audience on how the national carrier joins hands with SLCB to bring MICE traffic to Sri Lanka. Mr. Tennapon is the head of worldwide sales and distribution at Sri Lankan Airlines, and he boasts his valuable experience in working along Oman Air as well. He holds a degree in Bachelor's of Law from University of Colombo. Mr. Tennapon, the screen is all yours.
First of all, let me thank SLCB and Ms. Kimali Fernando for inviting us, national carrier, to take part in this Lanka webinar. I must say, Airlines and SLCB always work very closely with each other.
Mr. Tennapon, the line is not clear. No.
Hello.
Yes, now you're audible. Thank you.
Okay, sorry. So we as a national carrier, Sri Lankan Airlines, to be a part of government organization, we are a part of government organization, Sri Lankan government. And what we do is we operate in 36 countries, 36 destinations in worldwide network of in our the countries. Basically, Sri Lankan Airlines and SLCB always working very closely with each other. The two organizations promote MICE tourism in all the places wherever we operate, not only online stations, even the offline stations. We take part in all joint promotions, the trade shows, convention, not only convention bureau, all the other trade industry partners we are working very closely with, especially a country like India, where we have most number of MICE tourism into Sri Lanka. We operate 11 destinations in India. Of course, that was pre-COVID, and post-COVID, we will have more numbers, more destinations in India. And working with Sri Lankan Airlines and traveling into Sri Lanka for a MICE event, for all the Indian corporates, it is much better than traveling domestic in Indian destination. And we also take part in, like I mentioned earlier, all the trade shows, along with all the trade partners and my SLCB. We visit all the corporates in our network. Our country managers are working closely with Sri Lanka Convention Bureau. And the number one, the main objective even for country managers is to promote tourism and MICE tourism into Sri Lanka. Post-COVID, I must say that we will have more opportunities to promote MICE into Sri Lanka with the network, expand network, and we are planning to expand our operation into the 43 countries, 43 destinations post-COVID, 34 countries and 43 destinations. This is covering Europe, Middle East, Africa, Australia, and India. From all the places, we have frequencies into Sri Lanka. We provide a lot of facilities for MICE tourism, tourists when they travel into Sri Lanka. And when we bid the project from Sri Lankan Airlines point of view, of course, with the SLCB, and we take care of all our partners, the corporates, from the time they bid for the event until they go back, until they finalize the event, and until they go back to their countries, we take care of everything, their transportation part. And I must say that we conducted a lot of successful promotions, MICE events in Sri Lanka, along with SLCB. Not only the MICE events, even a lot of big weddings also we conducted in Sri Lanka. And we, as Sri Lankan Airlines, we help SLCB and the industry conducting fam trips, and not only the fam trips, even we bring down all the corporates to Sri Lanka to promote the destination, create the awareness, to show them the facilities we have in Sri Lanka. Then that is easy for them to finalize and decide when they have to decide about their next destination. And Sri Lankan Airlines will always support SLCB and the industry to promote tourism and MICE events in Sri Lanka. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tennakoon, for your valuable words on how the national carrier joins hands with SLCB to bring MICE traffic to Sri Lanka. Next in line, I would like to invite Mr. Imran Hassan to enlighten the audience as he speaks on World of MICE on a business event perspective. Mr. Imran is a renowned figure in the MICE industry in Sri Lanka and in the region as well. His specialty is in conceptualizing, creating, and developing trade fairs and conferences. He was instrumental in reviving the Sri Lanka Association of Professional Conference, Exhibition and Event Organizers, SLCB, when he served as the president in the association from 2009 to 2013. Mr. Imran, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. The screen is yours.
Thank you, Ravindra. World of mice is rather large, and according to a research agency which gathered some statistics in 2018, the world of mice was valued at US dollars 800 billion. And pre-COVID statistics that they made says that in 2025, the world of mice was to reach a value of 1.2 trillion US dollars. Now, isn't that a large number? So our mice industry globally is that big. And Sri Lanka is positioned geographically in a fantastic way to make use of it to increase or promote our destination as the ideal mice venue in this region. Now, if you take countries like Singapore and Dubai, which are now like first world countries in this part of the world, were villages in the 1960s. Singapore was a fishing village, and Dubai was, I don't think there even was a village, it was so small. Today, where has Dubai gone? Where has Singapore gone? They're like business centers. They're globally renowned business centers. The world can't do without countries like Dubai and Singapore. They achieved this because of their geographical positioning. They are ideal mice venues. Being a business center and a mice center or a mice hub, it's the same thing. So we are positioned in a fantastic location to make use of this. Furthermore, countries like Germany, right? If you take Europe for an example, the scenario is different. China, the scenario is different, but Germany is an ideal scenario or a unique scenario because every city in Germany has a messe or a hall or an exhibition or conference hall. You know, if you take, for example, Düsseldorf messe, right? Düsseldorf is the city, Düsseldorf messe is the hall or exhibition hall. And Drupa, the largest printing exhibition in the world, is held there, right? I remember once, even the expo very recently in the year 2000 was held in Düsseldorf, the World Expo, which is now going to be held in Dubai. So you get Cologne Messe, Frankfurt Messe, Hanover Messe. So all these, each exhibition center is named after a city. There is a metro stop or a railway stop in the exhibition center. I mean, the infrastructure is built. This is how huge the industry and the country and the economy is, and how it works together. It's all gelled together. So we feel that Sri Lanka also can achieve this. And there is no difficulty if you really put all forces together. Now, when you take infrastructure, Dubai World Trade Center and the Singapore Expo Center I'll take Singapore Expo Center. I know that very much more than the Dubai Expo World Trade Center is basically around 10,000 square meters into 10 halls. right? Now, it's about 100,000 square meters plus. Right now, if you take our exhibition centers, and it's all air conditioned, right? Is around 500 square meters. This is how small we are. So the scope we need now, we have to grow is huge. So the potential for our industry is huge. Basically, if you take the number of rooms in Colombo, we are less than 5,000 rooms, I think, star hotels. And if you take venues like Las Vegas, you were at Las Vegas is a MICE city, right? Okay, it's a party city as well, but then again, no meeting happens without a party, right? So the delegates who come for conferences or exhibitions or meetings come with a lot of money that they are given to spend, not a package tour where they have already spent the money, paid up, and coming here just eat from the buffet. No, these guys who come for a conference have money. They are paid to spend, not their money. Companies pay them to spend the money, right? So these people have a lot of money, right? And Sri Lanka today needs the money. We need the foreign exchange. This is what the government is saying. Bring in the money. How can you bring in the money? Tell us how you can bring in the money. Yes, I think I can only say on behalf of my industry that my industry or destination events, right? Sports events, business events, weddings, conferences, exhibitions, these can bring in the money. So look, we need to get this going by next 1-2 years. If you really focus, right, we can change our economic situation in this country. This can be a game changer. We also have been working with the authorities. We have a very clear understanding with the tourism ministry and the honorable minister. Also with our very capable chairperson, Mrs. Kimali Fernando. She has extended all her support through the SLCB to bring these events down, and she is going all out to support us. In fact, if you heard her speech, right, she says Sri Lanka or MICE is the voice of Sri Lanka, and we thank her for her passionate speech, right? So we are very much working in lines with them. So we feel that all guns should fire, right? All cylinders should be ready to fire, right? All associations, chambers, medical associations, right? The airlines, right? Everybody should reach out to the world, to all their their regional associations, the international associations, the world bodies, the regional bodies, right? Identify what the events are, right? That are available. Sri Lanka can host any event up to 5,000 packs, right? Look at them, identify them, right? Write to them. We are not going to host these events next month or next week, right? This COVID pandemic is not going to be there for years, right? We are looking at, once the country is vaccinated, I'm sure things should be better. This can't go on for always. So let's prepare, right? I call upon, as the president of SLCB, on behalf of our members and the Sri Lanka Convention Bureau, right, to for all associations to research, look at, be ambitious. Don't think we can't handle these things. Like Dr. Suresh said, SLCB members, we have enough capacity and strength to handle these events. So basically, let us all work together and bring these events down. I also wish to call upon the medical industry, which is huge, right? To write to your seek on getting these events, be ambitious. We'll work with you to get these events down. And especially India, our closest neighbor, I heard that the government is discussing to bring in Indian tourists, double vaccinated tourists. That means we can look at Indian events. Now for them, we don't need to wait years. So this can revive our situation in a big way. Right? So let us see how we can get the double vaccinated Indians down here, Indian meetings, Indian associations, Indian chambers, right? Let's write to them, let's work with them, let's get them down, right? So this is what I have to say. And SLCB, our members are very capable. We will help you from the stage of bidding together with the SLCB. We will do your budgeting, we will do your bidding, we will do your sponsorship canvassing. We can do everything for you from A to Z with regards to an event. Just engage with us, engage us, and we are happy to work with you all to get these events down to Sri Lanka. And once again, while thanking the chairperson for her unstinted support, right? I leave you with her words. MICE, the voice of Sri Lanka. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Imran. Very powerful. And thank you so much for sharing your experience with us on World of MICE on a business event aspect. Now, I would like to invite Mr. Krishantha Fernando to address the audience on event support Sri Lanka Convention Bureau can offer for MICE events. Having completed his bachelor's and master's studies in USA, managing contracts and amalgamations between Terex and Busaras, and finally with Caterpillar for Western Canada mining sector. In Sri Lanka, having worked with multiple industries such as Brandix, United Tractor Equipment, in managing the services and operations, he currently serves as the General Manager for Sri Lanka Convention Bureau. Mr. Krishantha, the screen is yours.
Thank you. So to answer your question, let me keep it brief. So please visit our website, Sri Lanka Convention Bureau, meet in Sri Lanka, and onto the support, all the relevant informations available. We are working constantly with the industry to further fine-tune the assistance program so that we can, as Chairperson clearly mentioned, that we need to bring more events. So we are working with the industry to make sure how we can fine-tune this industry to bring more events to our country. So if you need any additional information or further clarification, please write to us. Contact details are on the website, and we are always here to assist. As Chairperson pointed out, let us work together and bring our next event to a memorable, authentic, diverse, and compact island. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Krishantha, for your words. And thank you for the invitation to all our participants to join hands with the SLCB in going forward with their events. As we move on with our agenda, we have a video planned right now, and it will be played.
Ayubowan. Welcome to Sri Lankan Airlines, where the world is yours to explore, where new beginnings are familiar and family happens at hello, where every interlude is an experience, and your senses ignite. Where welcome is much more than a word. And you never really check out of the adventure. Surprising, vibrant, timeless. This is where flavor means fireworks. And paradise is infused into everything we share with you. where care is inherent and memories begin. This is where business means pleasure. And warmth is instinct. Where sleep means absolute serenity and waking up to tea time is an indulgence. This is where the world comes home. Thank you for flying Sri Lankan Airlines. You're our world.
That was a lovely message from our national carrier. And now we are heading to the most important session of our agenda. That is the panel discussion. And we have our chairperson, Mrs. Kimali Fernando, joining with us now to head the panel discussion. I'd like to request all the panelists to kindly switch on your videos and your mics as well. In the meantime, I would like to request our participants who have joined with us, our audience, to kindly type your questions, because we will be having a question and answer session at the end of the panel discussion. So please feel free to share your questions, share your inquiries with us in the chat box, and we will be answering them at the end of the session. Ms. Kimali Fernando, thank you so much for joining with us this evening, and the panel discussion is over to you.
Thank you so much. Manjula, I would start with asking a question from you. You correctly really mentioned the need for more content. I mean, there is some things, but we need much more. And I was wondering, when we do have that, some videos and brochures and so on you mentioned, could we come and present to your members at one of your events or gatherings so that we could sort of tell them that this is what we can do? And perhaps if they do introduce, I need to work this out, but if they do introduce that, maybe we can give some kind of a benefit as well. Maybe when they get to a particular hotel, they choose a particular hotel, we can talk to the hotel and maybe give their staff 5 rooms or 2 rooms or whatever for the weekend or something like that. Is that something that you're willing to do? And a kind of connected question is, how can you encourage your associations and business councils to bring events, and what can we do? Because from my perspective, I look at it, I just don't want to have a webinar and end. And I would like to have, within a short period of time, some kind of a target. So I was wondering whether you could assist us.
Yes, sure, Kimali. In fact, I already thought of having a meeting with some of your team members at SLCB along with the chamber team, so that we can together kind of put together what exactly we are going to offer to these associations. What can the chamber provide? What can SLCB provide? So once we get that cleared, we can write to all the associations and we can tell them that we are happy to assist you if you have the opportunity of bringing to Sri Lanka any forums of this nature, and then certainly we can organize maybe like a similar meeting like what we are having today, and where you can present to them the kind of material that you can offer, in what ways the 2 entities can support, that is the chamber and SLCB, and we can work together. We can identify a few, like you said, and then work with the associations to take it to a finish.
Thank you. And Dr. Suresh, thank you for participating. And I know you must have faced much obstacles or whatever. I'd love to hear what happened and you experienced a little bit on the Dental Congress. But also you mentioned about the bidding process, the credibility, the rapport you need to build. I think the rapport is, I totally agree, is critical, and the franchise model, the logistics and what have you. And the accessibility you mentioned, and I'm blessed that we have Sri Lankan Airlines who are really always ready to help. 36 countries, 43 destinations, always ready. I mean, it's amazing. At meetings, they would just say, yes, we fly to France. Okay, no. Okay, you want to fly to Germany. Okay, we fly to Germany. I mean, I don't think any tourist board has that kind of support ever. So I'm blessed with that. And then other airlines too, like Air France is coming from November, Swiss Air is coming from November. So extensive flights we have with Sri Lankan Airlines and Indian Airlines and so on to India. So you mentioned a SWOT analysis, very interesting. And I think, yes, we have done a draft of it, but I think we should do it and maybe share it with this panel and get your views on it, because I know Prashant has already done something, but I would like to get on to more onto that. I also wanted to ask your views. I mean, should we have like a microsite available, or do you think, I know personal contact is really important. So from the doctor's perspective, you just zoom in on them. Would you have like information on associations in some countries at least that we can like target and sell? If you do, I'd love to hear if you do. And yeah, and I would like all of you really to have a look at our SLCB website and give us really critical feedback, because we really need to improve on it. Over to you, Doctor.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, Kimali. Yes, definitely. We have a lot of contacts with most of these national associations worldwide. So definitely, because whenever we go for promotions of conferences or whenever we go for any international events, we always take the brochures from SLCB and promote Sri Lanka in most of the events. So that, of course, we have been doing it throughout for last so many years. The major, especially for congresses, especially medical congresses coming to Sri Lanka, the major constraint would be the finances, because basically, I said that there is basically we look at franchise models where we have to pay X amount of money to most of these international bodies. So therefore we may have to compete with associations like Korean, Singapore, Hong Kong, Malaysia, Philippines. So therefore, so all depends on how much one is able to commit on finances. So, but as I said, if once you create a good rapport, we can always argue that smaller countries need exposure. So therefore, you have to give us some sort of a exposure, and you have to award us some conferences. So therefore, we can negotiate on the amount of payment has to be made. So that we do. And also, if you look at in the past, we have run congresses with all sort of constraints, because if you look at the 1997 Congress, even with the peak of the terrorism, we were able to have a conference. And also in 1996, when India's central bank bomb blast was happening, they want to pull out the Congress completely. But still, with our persuasion, we were able to go ahead with the conference. Again, in 2006, at the middle of the conference, when we having it at the BMSCH, there was the Pittala Junction bomb blast. The international delegates want to leave, but we have to persuade them that don't worry, we look after you. That's a personal guarantee which we give the delegates. Nothing will happen to you all. We'll make sure that you safely leave Sri Lanka once the conference is over. So like that, so we have encountered a lot of issues, but we have been because we are geared for it. So because we always predict if something happens, what our plan is and plan is. The major issue would be the 2020, because we are supposed to have the Asia Pacific Congress in June 2020. Then in March, the COVID stuck and the Congress was postponed. And basically, so there are a lot of issues whether we are going to cancel the conference, we are going to postpone it. Then ultimately, we were able to convince the international body to postpone it to 2021. And then we are planning to have it in May as a hybrid conference, because the situation still has not improved worldwide. So the issue of people traveling to Sri Lanka was a major issue. But ultimately, just about a week before the conference, we had to completely go as virtual. So, but we were geared for it. So unless you plan it well with all these options, ultimately one might run into a failure. So ultimately, important thing is that we had to project our image, not our image, our association image plus the country's image. So that's important that you plan it well, so that you are able to ultimately execute what you have planned and hold actually a very good virtual congress that you're able to have. I should thank the BMSCH for giving all the support in doing the conference virtually from the venue. So that's how we were able to manage most of these setbacks. Thank you.
actually Dimutu. I would go to Dimutu and thank you for all your support. And I was just wondering whether you would be able to sort of promote not only business, but also weddings. And is there something that you have in mind for that? And also when someone comes as a delegate from a business event, is there something special you give or you're thinking of doing at all, or what are the conditions, if there are any?
Yes, Ms. Fernando. I hope you all can hear me.
Yes, we can.
Yes. Okay. Let me answer this question, Ms. Fernando. We as a national carrier, like I mentioned earlier, that we operate 43 destinations in the world, and we bring all those people into Sri Lanka, not only tourists. We give prominence to MICE tourism from each and every destination, especially from India, and which is our our neighbor, and where we are very strong in that place, where, like I mentioned, we operate to 11 destinations, and it's going to be 13 post-COVID. And those with additional destinations coming into Sri Lanka is always better for any Indian corporate to have their MICE event. Now, for this, what we do is, it's not only benefit is for Sri Lanka, SLCB, and all the other trade partners to work with Sri Lankan Airlines is, number one, we create the awareness in this market. We bring corporates, we bring media, we bring MICE, promote the organizations, the heads of the organizations, and we create the awareness in Sri Lanka. What are the properties? What are the things that we can offer? And then we, from the time we start that discussions, we take care of them. We bring them, create the awareness, and then when they start the promotion or the MICE, when they finalize the MICE event in Sri Lanka, we bring them here with a very special discount. We offer for all, only for MICE tourists, we offer a very special discount. When they, and for to avail that also, it's very easy for them. Either they can contact our Sri Lankan Airlines office, or they can even contact the travel agent, or even they can log into our SriLankanAirlines.com website. And then not only just availing the discounts for the passengers who are coming here as a participant, we even offer sometimes special facilities for their families. MICE, most probably, most of the time when they travel into Sri Lanka, they come with their families. And then, of course, our industry partners can take care of arranging some excursions, take care of them during the time that the other family members are attending the meeting. Number one, discount. Number one, the identification. We, of course, like you mentioned earlier, special counter at the immigration that is also provided separately. And from our side, special checking counters we always provide for MICE groups. And branding, the announcements, the recognition, everything we do on board. And even when they arrive here, we take care of them until we hand them over to the person who is organizing or the organizing committee. And like I mentioned earlier, it's very easy for them to avail this, whatever the discounts we offer for MICE tourism. If they want to manage their bookings and the details on their own, they can log into our website. If they want to change the dates and the days, how they want to do it, they can do everything all by themselves, or they can contact our Sri Lankan Airlines office. We have a Sri Lankan Airlines manager in all the destinations where we operate. For the 43 is going to be post-COVID. All those places, we will have a representative, a Sri Lankan national, who is very well aware of Sri Lankan properties and Sri Lanka. What are the things that we can offer there? And they will personally make sure that they will attend to all these things and then issue the tickets and make sure, look after their all the arrangements. And one more thing which I wanted to highlight, post-COVID, we are going to relax a lot of our conditions when they travel. When they come to Sri Lanka, if they decide that they don't want to return on the same day and they want to go around Sri Lanka and enjoy the Sri Lankan hospitality, just see the beauty of Sri Lanka, the country. And for that also, we have relaxed most of the conditions, the date changes and so on. When we discuss, when we negotiate with the MICE partner or the corporate or the wedding planner, we convey all these messages to them.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Imran, you mentioned we have 5,000, maximum 5,000 packs, and then I think of it as we are like unique. And I think Dimuthu also mentioned that they do their holidays as well and come with their families. So it's not seen as one of those, from the other markets, if you like. So how can we look at this and get some results? I mean, could we sort of segregate these things like conferences country-wise, because we have limited resources. So we have so many countries. Should we all get together and look at like focus 5 countries or 6 countries or whatever the number you all think appropriate, right? And then zoom in on those countries. And then we'll say, okay, fine. Are we going to go for medical? Are we going to go for weddings here? Are we going to go for sports here? I mean, could we look at something like that with your help? Because I think if not, we're not going to get far. And are your members willing to also build some kind of partnerships with particularly the event wedding planners in India? Why is that's not, because that's huge. And is that something your members are willing to do? Like joint ventures or something like this?
Yes, Kimali, thanks once again for having us here. And yes, we are very much interested in joining up with international event planners, PCOs, wedding planners. And yes, we should focus on markets, countries. Of course, India is there for sure for takes, that is number 1, I believe, for MICE. Of course, the other countries like Pakistan, and yeah, we have to focus on South Asia is definite focus, plus some Middle East and some Southeast Asian countries. So we should zoom in on those things. Yes, I think medical conferences is also another big plus. Weddings, definitely, yes. And we have been tying up, and some of our, and as far as weddings are concerned, last year we changed the constitution of our association to ensure that we have one of the biggest wedding planners in our country is being given the vice presidency slot in our association. So, so we are really focusing on these things. We have a young, energetic team at SLCB as well, like the Convention Bureau. So we are very much up to working with the Convention Bureau and Sri Lanka Tourism. Of course, on planning, in fact, we now have got involved with the marketing plan of the Convention Bureau, and we are giving a lot of input. We have had so much of brainstorming sessions amongst us. So we are happy to work with, we are happy to tie up. It's a brilliant idea to really look at focusing on these markets and tying up with international wedding organizers. Yeah, so definitely we are there. And I think, we can add value to any event which comes in through our experience, and we believe that we need to take it a step further. We need to give a wow aspect to all these events so that people remember what they take, they should take home the memories with them of an event in Sri Lanka. I mean, end of the day, when you travel, you only have memories with you left. So I think we can do that, as you said, in a small country with so much to offer and so many things. We are unique. So let's work on this. We very much agree with what you're saying. We have to focus and look at different areas. Thank you. Have I answered your question, ma'am?
Yes, you have. Thank you so much. Krishanta, there's really not much questions except to work with you together. Amazing leadership you give, Achini and the team. It's fabulous. A pleasure to work with you guys. And I think that let's work together. Let's try and make some really stunning wedding videos and push it out to the Indian market quickly. As it was mentioned before by Imran, most likely tonight, I pray that we will open for India. So I saw the document also. So I pray for that tonight, that we get this. After 6 o'clock, there's a meeting, and so we'll see. So if that happens, I will post it that tonight itself. And then India vaccinated guests would be permitted to come to Sri Lanka. There was a question actually here raised that in your questions, something about can we welcome South Asians on meetings and conference events in November this year? Chances are yes, most likely, because if you're in a bio bubble anyway, if you're vaccinated, if you're vaccinated, you're basically part of the community in one day. So just to summarize, the health guidelines at the moment is if you're vaccinated and you come and get your on-arrival PCR and it's negative, assuming, then you are like you and me. It's part of the community. So they can have their event or wedding or whatever. But if you want to have a very secure wedding, you can have arrange in a hotel and you can have your family or friends in one particular hotel. We can create for you a specific bio bubble so that you would be safe as well, because you may be concerned as a guest coming to Sri Lanka that you may get COVID from us. Those days we were worried that we will get COVID from tourists, but now a little bit it has changed. So we can create kind of an environment like that. So yeah, I think we should have an integrated campaign. The private sector who are here today, it is their job to get the bookings, but we will help them a lot. But our job, I think, is to do an integrated global communication campaign on this, which means we push TV ad, we push social media, we go to the magazines, the wedding magazines and, stuff like that. If we get into some magazines, get some interviews and stuff like that, I think we will see a fair amount of traction. I'm particularly keen to have some good quick wins for next year. So I thank the panel and I hand over to Ravindra to take over from here.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Fernando, and thank you so much for all the panelists who have joined in this wonderful forum today, and thank you for making it a success. We have a couple of questions. I know Mrs. Fernando has already answered one. Thank you so much for that. And we have a question to Mr. Dimuthu. Will there be a significant increase in air ticket rates post-COVID?
There won't be any significant increase post-COVID in air tickets. In fact, currently we have offered so many promotions into Sri Lanka during this period for next 2-3 months. Even most of the destinations, Ms. Fernando is aware of that. With Sri Lankan Airlines, we have offered buy one get one free promotion. Whoever who's coming to Sri Lanka as tourists for MICE or whatever the purpose. And even after that, I'm sure that we will not increase the airfares so much, because we have to be competitive. Like one of the panelists said, we have to be competitive in this region, in this part of the world. If we are competing with India and Malaysia and Singapore and Thailand, we have to be very competitive, and airfare is covering a major portion, at least about 30 to 40% of the total package. So if we increase the fares, we will definitely not be competitive. So I can assure you that we will not increase the fares. There won't be any significant increase.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dimuthu, for that confident answer, and thank you so much. I have another small question to Mr. Manjula. How could Ceylon Chamber of Commerce can help to promote local events? Over to you, sir.
Yes, no, certainly, just like in the case of overseas events, I mean, we organize quite a few events locally as well, ourselves and the associations that we work with. Unfortunately, over the last 1.5 years, most of those had to be switched to virtual events, but otherwise throughout the year, we have this Sri Lanka Economic Summit, which is a big event. We have then almost all the associations have at least 1 or 2 big events. So we will start talking to them, and I think everybody has got into a bit of a negative mindset because of the current environment. But now we need to start telling people, you've got to look forward towards 2022 and beyond, and start planning, because once everybody is vaccinated, hopefully within the next few months, we should be able to bring this situation under control. So therefore, not to think through the current environment in which we are operating, but to start planning for 2022 and beyond, and back again where physical events will be definitely a reality. Yes, we will definitely work with all the associations, and also we have our business councils as well. We have about 19 business councils who are also very active, and so we can include them as well in this conversation.
Thank you very much, Mr. Manjula. Thank you very much. I have one more question. That would be towards Dr. Shanmuganathan. I hope you can hear us, Doctor. This question is over to you. What or when will be the next international event of Dental Association and what it would be?
Right. So basically, we had the international event about 3 months ago. So now we are basically planning to have a small event, probably in December, which will be basically a workshop with few participants, because still we don't know where we are heading towards from the COVID point of view. So based on that, we'll see how big. Anyway, we run at least about 2-3 small events a year. So which we are planning next year somewhere in November, and probably after 2023 we'll have it 2-3 events here, which are not big conferences but small events. So depending on the situations, we will look at organizing a major event probably in 2024.
Thank you very much, Dr. Shanmuganathan. Thank you. I think I'm getting. We have a question which has been directed to in the Q&A session at the Q&A box. Mr. Gihan has posted this question. With ongoing pandemic, what are the emerging trends in the world market for mice from buyer's perspective? And this question is 2 parts, and we would like to have the opinion on the insights of Mrs. Fernando as well as Mr. Imran as well. So I would like to, may I read it once again? And that will be, with ongoing pandemic, what are the emerging trends in the world market for mice from buyer's perspective? Mrs. Fernando.
I think Imran is better equipped to answer that question. So I'm going to let him answer that, because from my perspective and what I can see is that, yes, there's going to be less of people meeting, but I think this is never going to end. People eventually need to meet, and they're eventually, for sure, in terms of weddings they're going to have. That's one of the reasons I'm sort of zooming in on a little bit weddings at the moment, because I think that's going to happen faster than the business meetings. But over to you, Imran, on your thoughts on that.
Mr. Imran, yeah.
So basically, I think the question was from Gihan. I think buyers want the sellers or the presenters or the organizers to have less contact points, more technology to be used, events to be a little bit more hybrid. I think these are the things that we need to identify for the more preparation to be done, more matchmaking to be, appointment schedulings to be done so that you can manage your time, things like that. So this will be the future, because people don't want to just come and waste their time when meeting sellers. They are looking at less contact points, technology to be used. I think so. These will be the new trends coming forward or going forward. And at the moment, of course, virtual events are happening in a very big way, right? So at the moment, virtual and hybrid is the name of the game. So in future, we'll have to look at safety standards, health and safety standards. All these things will come into play at least for the next 5 years. So we have to be geared to adapt ourselves to the changes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Imran, and thank you very much, Mrs. Fernando, as well, for your valuable insights. And with that, we would like to end the panel discussion, and my heartfelt gratitude to all the panelists, as well as Mrs. Fernando, for being a wonderful moderator for the session. Thank you so much for all your valuable insights, and thank you for making it a wonderful forum and a panel discussion for all our participants. As we move forward with our agenda, we have another video planned for you. Let's await from whom it would be.
Multi-purpose conference, convention, and exhibition facility in Sri Lanka, the BMICH. Geared to handle any function, be it a conference, convention, exhibition, corporate event, private event, or any other. Our benchmark for standards are high and are fulfilled with world-class delivery. The main conference hall has a seating capacity for 1,600 delegates, as well as the ability to host a diverse range of events. It also has the capabilities to support any technical requirements. All banquet needs for functions held can be arranged to deliver an enhanced ambiance and experience owing to the international service standards that we are synonymously associated with. The banquet hall located within the premises can accommodate up to 450 persons. Occasions range from seated banquets, buffets, cocktail parties, and conferences for corporate functions to private functions such as weddings and homecoming ceremonies. Our array of convention centers also consist that are also ideal for hosting formal events such as conferences. When we promise you a suitable location to fill any need, we are capable of delivering the ultimate experience. Our team is committed to deliver optimum satisfaction with every interaction, however minute your need may be. Our key competencies in achieving and sustaining superior standards has brought us to the forefront of event hosting in Sri Lanka. Please get in touch with us today to know how we can deliver a memorable experience for your event. The Sirimavo Bandaranayake Memorial Exhibition Centre consists of a spacious 4,000 square metre floor area and is the most sought-after location for exhibitions, trade shows, and large corporate functions. Mihilaka for hosting any corporate or private function with their own intrinsic charm and flair. When we promise you a suitable location to fill any need, we are capable of delivering the ultimate experience. Our team is committed to deliver optimum satisfaction with every interaction, however minute your need may be. Our key competencies in achieving and sustaining superior standards has brought us to the forefront of event hosting in Sri Lanka. Please get in touch with us today to know how we can deliver a memorable experience for your event.
And as we come to the end of our forum today, I would like to invite Ms. Devanti Ambuldenia to address the audience and share the closing remarks on behalf of SLCB and BMICH. She is the manager BMICH and a representative of SLCB as well. Ms. Devanti, the screen is yours.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Chairperson Sri Lanka Tourism, Mrs. Kimali Fernando, Mr. Manjula Silva, Secretary General, CEO of the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce, Dr. Suresh Shanmuganathan, Sri Lanka Dental Association, Mr. Dimuthu Tennakon, Head of Worldwide Sales and Distribution, Sri Lankan Airlines, Mr. Krishanta Fernando, General Manager, Sri Lanka Convention Bureau, Mr. Imran Hassan, President SLAP CEO, and the professionals who are here representing the MICE industry. It is my privilege to say a few words on the successful conclusion of the Chairperson's Forum on MICE, chaired by Mrs. Kimali Fernando. I would like to make special mention of the personalities who significantly contributed to making this event an enormous success with all the constraints that had to overcome due to the pandemic. Sri Lanka Convention Bureau and SLAP CEO came together to deliver this MICE forum to the business chambers and associations with a view to marketing Sri Lanka as a premium MICE destination, complemented by Sri Lanka's natural attractions. I most sincerely thank once again Mrs. Kimali Fernando, Mr. Manjula Silva, Dr. Suresh Shanmuganathan, Mr. Dimuthu Tennakon, Mr. Krishanta Fernando, Mr. Imran Hassan, and the professionals for your valued contribution. Thank you. Over to you, Ravindra.
Thank you very much, Ms. Banerjee. With that, here we are at another successful event and another successful forum. Thank you so much. My heartfelt gratitude to all the panelists. Thank you very much, Chairperson Mrs. Kimali Fernando, for dedicating your time to separating your time for this event. And I know you are very busy. Despite your busy schedule, you have made time. So thank you very much. We really appreciate your participation. And thank you for all the other panelists as well. And with that, I will conclude our forum today. Until we meet again, I'm Ravindra Madugale, and thank you so much for joining with us this evening to make this a success. See you all. Take care.